I'm doing another what I eat in a day video. What I'm having here, I'm going to break the cost down. Also want to talk about this sugar diet, and I'm going to talk about my opinion about it. Hey y'all, Kelly Broken Carnivore here. If you're new to the channel, welcome to the channel. If you're returning, welcome back. I am doing another what I eat in a day, and I'm going to break the cost of this meal down. What I have here is I have 6 pieces of bacon, and this bacon I found on sale for $7.99 a pound at a local grocery store in Columbia, Missouri. Normally it's about $12 a pound. So, and this has no added sugar, so that is a bonus. I have 6 eggs, pasture raised, scrambled, and I have probably a quarter pound of sausage. This is a normal meal that I eat in one day. Sometimes I eat 2, but most of the time I am omid. Unless I am starting to prepare to do a fast, which one of these days I am going to do a longer term fast. I did only one fast, and that's because I had to do a colon screening, so I decided to do a 48-hour fast. But I want to do a longer one, like maybe a 3-day instead of 48 hour. Maybe I'll do 3 days and kind of, you know, boost up. But the main thing is I want to break the cost down on this. So, but first, I want to talk a little bit about this fad diet. It's new, but actually everybody knows about it. It's called the sugar diet. Well, I'm not promoting and saying, I am saying you need to do carnivore. I'm not saying you need to do the sugar diet. I'm not saying you need to do keto or just the standard diet. It is your opinion. The reason why I do these videos is to hoping that I can use my videos and my encouragement and my testimony and what works for me that could help someone out there. And, you know, sugar diet is very, very tempting. It's sounds good. And it's like, oh, people's losing weight on the sugar diet. But I want to talk about from an addict point of view. I have a really bad addiction problem. That's why I don't want to do the sugar diet. I know if I do this sugar diet, I will be back to where I was, square one, back with the hip pain, back with the arthritis, back with the snoring loud, back with the inflammation, possibly even worse, and the 60-something, almost 70 pounds that I have already lost that I started almost a year ago. I would gain all that back. So, you know, almost a year in carnivore. My 1 year will be July 26th. And so why would I do the sugar diet, especially that if I have a real bad addiction. Not only that, I know that I have a bad addiction. One time I used to smoke cigarettes. I smoked up to 2 packs a day. Then I got hooked on chewing, like Copenhagen, that snuff that you put in your mouth, you know, the chew that you put in your mouth, that you let it set. That stuff almost wrecked me, and I got so bad where I was doing a can a day. When I quit that stuff, I was doing what my dad was doing, is the Camel snooze. They're very minute, but I was started out too. Before you know it, I was doing 10 or 12 of those little packets a day. So I know that I have a bad addiction. That's why I'm grateful I never did try any drugs. I'm never glad that I wasn't really fully addicted to alcohol at all. But also, I was badly addicted. And that's the one thing about it. The first thing that you need to do when you're having an issue with metabolic or obesity or you know, you have diabetes and you're overweight, you got to figure out what's that trigger. And you have to admit that you're an addict. I'm an addict. I'm a sugar addict. I love sugar. Don't get me wrong, this sugar diet is very, very tempting to have, and I would love to do that sugar diet. Man, I miss having bread, having sandwiches, having cakes and cookies, and, you know, seeing, you know, having a hamburger with buns on it. And my favorite donut of it all, if you are watching this video and you live in Iowa, Minnesota, Missouri, Kansas, you know, the west of the Mississippi River, and sometimes east of the Mississippi River, you know about Casey's General Store or Casey's. My favorite donut there was the yellow cake donut with the white frosting and sprinkles. And I can't just eat one. I had 3 or 4 of them when I went to go get them. So, no, I'm not going to do the sugar diet because I don't want to wreck it. But I'm not going to promote it. I think the sugar diet is crazy. But also people will say carnivore diet is crazy or the ketovore diet is crazy as well. But I look at it this way. What diet is sustainable for you will work the best? For me, I did start out with keto 4 years ago. I did lose some weight, but also with being an addict, trying to compensate all the sweets and making the desserts and stuff like that, I fell off. I end up eating a lot of the keto treats, keto breads, all that stuff, which is not really keto. It's just marketed keto, classified low carb. That's why a year ago, after I was gaining half of my weight back and was having the inflammation, the hip pain, all that stuff, I decided I'm going carnivore, and I've been carnivore, and so far it has been sustainable for me. Now, I don't do perfect carnivore. I don't do real strict carnivore. I pretty much eat, they may call dirty carnivore. Every now and then, I may have some sauces. I do drink coffee. I drink unsweetened tea. Every now and then, I'll do spices. Most of the time, I'll do salt. I do the Kiltz's ice cream. I have a little bit of dairy. I don't do the real strict carnivore. I do what works for me. And so far, I have lost 68, almost 70 pounds. And I am feeling my best. I feel better than I did when I was a teenager. And you should feel your best when you're a youth. But I didn't. I'm actually at the weight where I was when I was in high school. So I still have a ways to go on the weight. But I am very grateful by doing the carnivore diet. This is what works for me. And so I'm going to do it. So let's talk about addiction. On a biblical point of view or a Christian point of view, could a sugar addiction, could you idolize it? Any addiction, any addiction or habit can be an idol. And so glutton, you can, be addicted to sugar, addicted to carbs, eat too much of it. You can idolize it, take priority over the creator, God. I took a lot of priority over my addictions, especially smoking and chewing. Now, I never smoked in the vehicle with my kids, around my kids, because I respect that. I was around that when I was growing up, and even, I don't know why I started smoking, but I never wanted my kids to be around that cigarette smoke when I was smoking, because I know how bad it is. I don't want to affect their health. But a lot of times, I waited to have a cigarette here, or waited to smoke, or waited to chew. Oh no, I took priority. I made idols. Any addiction can be an idol. There's people that are addicted to pornography, addicted to drugs, alcohol. Anything that you're addicted to, you can classify it as an idol. And God doesn't like idols. God wants our whole heart. And he does grieve when we do sin and make an idol. Just remember, remember Exodus, in Exodus, if anybody that's Christian watching this, if you know Exodus, Moses, as he went up to get the tablets from Mount Sinai, the people were grumbling and stuff, and they said, I want to make an altar. So they put all their gold and jewelry and all that together, and they made a golden calf. They idoled it instead of idling the living God. You see what happened there. So when you do use addictions for, as an idol, or, addictions, no matter what, you're taking your priority on those addictions over, and your habits over, than what is important. Even your own health. You can be selfish by, I want my sugar, I want my cookies, I want my cakes, I want my ice cream, I want my Pepsi, Coca-Cola, my sweet tea, I want my cinnamon rolls. I don't care what it costs. I'll take the medicine. I'll get all that. You can be selfish. And you could be selfish by doing that, instead of taking care of yourself. You want what you want, and you just use the medicine to treat, and you just get worse and worse. But, if something happens to you, it's kind of selfish, because you're leaving your family behind when it comes to that kind of stuff. Even going with alcohol. Alcohol is poison. And if you party and take priority by drinking alcohol, getting drunk over your family, over your job, that could be selfish, and it could be idle. So that's one thing about addiction that you got to be careful about. And that's one thing, that's why I won't do the sugar diet, because I'm telling you from an addict's point of view, because I know once I get one taste of it, it's over with. I want more and more and more. And sugar wrecked my metabolic health. And the carbs wrecked my metabolic health. The carnivore diet, no matter what, if it's beef and butter, bacon, eggs, sausage, chicken, that's more sustainable for me than having that sugar diet. And so I can't tell you what diet to choose from. You do what works for you. I'm just encouraging my story, my testimony, and what works for me that could help encourage and support someone out there that desperately needs help if they're running the same issue. Because I'm not alone, you're not alone. We all have this issue. Some people works well with sugar. Some people are healthy and they can eat sugar. But for me, I can't eat it. I could eat animal-based. Animal-based. Honey's classified as carnivore. It's animal-based, but I won't touch the honey because it's too sweet. And I know if I eat honey, I'll want more and more and more. And there you know it. I will be back to where I was. So same thing with a lot of fruit. I won't eat a lot of fruit. I'll eat a little bit of fruit that comes out of my strawberry beds every now and then. That's all I do. Now that's done, so I don't have to worry about strawberries. But other than that, I'm pretty much going to stay 99% carnivore. I have my coffee, I'll have my unsweetened tea. Definitely have my Topo Chico mineral water. That's my soda go-to. And then I also, being on the carnivore diet or low carb diet, you want to make sure that you do a good electrolyte. Don't get the ones at the store, Gatorade or anything. Get you a good quality one like Element. I use Element. And now Element has, a lemonade salt, which for a limited time, That's pretty good. So I had to order some of that. And so now, every now and then, I treat myself to a lemonade salt, like I'm having lemonade. So let's get back to this meal, and I want to get to the cost of this. All right, let's break the cost down. We're going to start with the eggs. I buy these eggs at Moser's grocery store in Columbia, Missouri, and I get them for $5.99 a dozen. So I have 6 eggs, and of course, I have them cooked in bacon grease. I save my bacon grease. So let's see what the costs of the eggs. Whoa. Let's back that up. I got that wrong. We ain't no $35.94 for 6 eggs. I won't be eating eggs for that price. Okay, so they're about 50 cents an egg. So 0.5 times 6. So that, oops. Let's try this again. 0.50 times 6. That's about $3 for the eggs. So this bacon here is on sale. So let's it was 7.29, I believe that's what it was, divided by 12 slices. So it's about 60 cents a slice times, I got about 6 pieces, enter. That's not right. I think it's about $1. It's about 60 cents a slice, because it is a little bit more than what I get at Aldi's. So it's about $3.64 or $3.65. This sausage is about 1/4 pound, so this is 2.99 times so it's about 74 cents. So it's about 75 cents for that, because that's about 1/4 pound of sausage. So let's see what 0.75 plus 3 plus 3.65. Enter. So this meal, total meal right here, cost about $7.40. That's actually pretty cheap, because you can't get this meal at a restaurant for that price. You can't even get the eggs probably for that price. So that's a pretty good deal. So this is something that I would eat in one day. Most of the time I eat one meal. This is typically one of my meals that I usually like to eat, like eggs and like a breakfast style. So likewise, let's be kind, be positive, have a good attitude, encourage and support one another. Y'all have a great day. God bless. I'm going to enjoy this meal.